right, welcome back to the program. You're still watching Daybreak on Trust TV. This is a time where we get to pick your brains on certain issues that we'd like to discuss, giving you an opportunity to join the conversation, weigh in, have your say. Let's hear your thoughts on what has been somewhat traumatic 48 hours, I must say, for Nigerians across board. Not just for the shutdown, but the cost of the shutdown of the Nigerian economy over the past 48 hours by the organized labor, trying to drive home their demands about an improved minimum wage, about the cost of living, about the electricity tariff hike, about a variety of issues that affect Nigerians directly. But they did it in such a way that also aggravated some of those issues, compounded it a little further, which they say is necessary because that is the only language that the government seems to understand, and it has pushed the needle in somewhat a good direction because the government now has given its commitment to coming up with a workable template within the next 48 hours, and likely we're going to hear some good news today. Well, that is in the conversation. However, I would like to get personal with this one by getting your take on the impact of the past 48 hours on your life, on your livelihood, especially as we hear a lot of business operators groaning about how their operations were really affected negatively. We saw that report by Bello Musa from Kaduna, where some of these cold room operators have had to deal with customers being disappointed, spoilage of some of these food items like meat, fish, vegetables, and so on and so forth. And if you take it outside of that, you think about the hospitals, how the medical supplies would have perhaps gone to waste over the past 48 hours because some of these vials, some of these medical supplies depend on a certain temperature to remain good for usage, basically. So that's it. Let's have your take anyway. If you have anything to add to this one, join in. The number is shown on your TV screen. Rules of engagement as always. Please turn down the volume of your TV set as you call in. Be articulate, be concise, and let us know your name and your location. Let's have a conversation. Personally, for me, it was the discomfort of just, having to worry if I run out of battery, because most people were not planning for this to happen. We thought it was just going to be like a regular old strike. But then all of a sudden, everything was shut down.
For me, I had mixed feelings about the announcement of the strike. In fairness, I had lost some kind of confidence on labor until yesterday. Yeah. But we have our first caller. Good morning, your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Mohammed Ibrahim Kari. I'm calling from Azare in Bauchi State.
Interesting. How is Azare this morning?
Azare is doing well.
I worked there briefly, sometimes 13 years ago while I was in Bauchi, so I know a few places around Azare. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah. That's very good. Nice.
Yeah. So go ahead. How has this strike action affected you personally? What can you share with us?
Yes, it affected me because it has brought so many things to stand still. Taking my household in the first instance, I don't have electricity for the period of the strike, so it affected my household, it affected my water supply, it affected lighting. That is number one. Number two, where I work in a hospital, most people could not come to the hospital because they could not
That's the Federal Medical Center, isn't it?
Exactly, sir. Yes. People are reluctant to come to the hospital because of the fear of unknown. They think that by coming, they will meet workers on a strike, though we are able to see how we manage to give essential services.
Okay, so give us a sense. How do you preserve those medical supplies, when you suffer these things, especially those ones that require preservation?
Was there even a backup generator to address that?
Are you taking the hospital or my household?
The hospital.
The hospital, right.
In the hospital, we have a generating set, so we have to power the generating set. And it's not easy taking into cognizance of diesel.
That's right.
You have to power generator from the morning after evening because you have to render services in the theater, in the laboratory, you have to see patients. And it's not easy because by running generator for almost 8 to 10 hours, you can imagine the cost.
Right. Right.
So it's not easy actually. So it has affected us economically, socially, and even psychologically. We hope and pray that government will come to a stand whereby the labor, the government, and all the citizens will be happy with the outcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. I appreciate you for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a good day ahead. Thank you so much. Yeah. Some people sometimes have contingency plans. There's some people who are talking about, oh, this is the right push we need to step up our interest in solar energy, for instance. We should all have a backup plan. We should all have a plan B.
I'll tell you a story about the issue of solar. I have a solar in my house, but it turned out the weather yesterday was
it was
just not supportive.
Exactly.
We barely had
there wasn't much sunshine.
No, barely had 1 hour of sunshine yesterday. So it meant whatever backup you had was also, it was just not available when it should, especially given that we are now fully into the rainy seasons and you expect those kind of weather conditions and all of that. But well, it doesn't take away the need for those backups. Absolutely. We see how Azari has coped. But the question would be, how long would they have sustained that had the strike continued beyond the time that we had seen, especially because now you now have unintended consequences. If scheduled operations have to be cancelled and you have to lose medical supplies because you're unable to preserve them, then it adds to the cost, the general cost of allowing conversations or negotiations to degenerate to the level where we have to bring the country to a complete standstill.
Yeah. And that to me is also one of the issues, especially when it comes to labor negotiations with the government. We've seen this one trick always applied, for lack of a better word, by the way. This is like the biggest toolbox, the biggest tool in the toolbox of the organized labor. And listen, you can't really blame them. It has been effective to get in the government to do the needful over the years, and that's why they consistently use it to drive home their demand, especially as a last resort. Let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
I'm Ismail Ban. I'm calling from Kainji, Niger State.
Ismail from Niger State.
Yeah, Kainji to be precise.
Kainji, okay, good to hear from you, Ismail. Go ahead, Ismail. How did this situation affect you?
Actually, the strike activities have affected us so badly because some of our preservatives spoiled, businesses idle, and lot more. A lot of people who depend on daily need, like the weathers, organizers. Because I have experience yesterday, I got a flat tire. When I get to the organizer, in fact, he has to charge me extra that is using for. So instead of charging me a little amount, I paid higher. And also, some of our I have a friend that is running incubator. So most of his eggs, at least, are gone.
All right.
Because he has no any other alternative to cater for them. And also, it's just quite unfortunate that we have a government that does not listen to the masses. In a country of over 200 million population, we have just the National Assembly. How many are they? What is their take home? Look at a military man. I have a boy who is a military guy. His salary is just 50,000. For God's sake, what did he eat? How did he take care of himself? And you send this kind of person to a war front and you expect him to perform. Whereby people are there only to sit. For your sitting alone, you have allowance. For even drinking a tea alone, you have allowance.
All right, Ahmed.
Now, for God's sake.
Ahmed, now that you talk,
if you pay in Nigerian, even if you pay a common Nigerian, at least 200,000. What does it cost? How much is a mudu of rice in the market? So let's be sincere with ourselves. Our government should be fair. They should remember they are public servants. It is people that voted them there to be the voice of the masses. Then why are they deviating from their services? Why do they take their personal interest more important than that of those who take them there? I just pray they should have a rethink over the common masses of this country.
Thank you very much.
God bless you all.
Thank you. Before you go, Ahmed, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
I just wanted to, at the risk of deviating a bit, find out what the security situation in is kind. How is Kanji faring in the last couple of days and weeks?
Situation have improved. At least for now, in fact, for now, everything is okay for now. Unlike before.
Okay.
The military, the local vigilantes, and the policemen are doing a great job, to be very candid. And kudos to Nigerian Air Force, kudos to Nigerian military and our local vigilante embarked. They are doing a great job.
Right. Well, we hope the situation continues to improve. Ismail, thank you so much for joining us.
Inshallah, we hope so. We hope so. We hope so.
Thank you so much, Ismail. Do have a good day. Thank you for sharing all those experiences with us, especially the small businesses. He talked about his friend running an incubator. Imagine if you don't have energy. Energy is at the heart of most economies.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Like if you don't solve your energy challenges. I mean, look at how the Russia-Ukraine war nearly brought the world to its feet.
That's right.
Mainly because of gas, for instance. And then we can talk about wheat and other things later. But mainly because of gas.
True.
I mean, how everything just skyrocketed as a result of that. Because if you cut supply, it crumbles the entire system itself. And
the chain effect
that's what happens. I mean, we always complain about the power supply not being adequate. So imagine not even having the inadequate supply that you need to run your business.
I mean, for this guy who runs an incubator, that is some kind of dislocation to food security.
Yeah.
I mean, because it is these pieces of productions scattered here and there that overall, support the national food supply, especially when it comes to poultry. We have another caller on the line. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Abdullahi, Ahmed, and the other person. My name is Ali Omar Shabaki, calling from Akwanga, Nasarawa State.
Thank you very much, Shafiu.
Yeah, in fact, you see, the federal government announced here to tell you. It is only in Nigeria workers are collecting less salary. If you recall, when tinubu came on board, he said, no more strike university, no more strike workers. Why is this thing happening? Even though labor demanded 490 or whatever, they're not going to have the money to pay. How much is ready to pay collecting in Nigeria? Look at how things started in the market. Where was the minimum wage? So the most importantly, the problem is coming from the governors. The governors are sabotage of all this effort. They don't want to pay the money. But I believe with this step that the labor took, fruitful result will come out, because I saw the president and the team committee are meeting as well. So I believe we want something that I believe the worker can be able to feed his family, the people that are under him. Unlike me, I'm a teacher. I have a wife and children. I have fathers that depend on me. How much is my salary? I cannot buy food again. I cannot do anything again. So if the society made unfair, they should do something. So this is my call. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, when we talk about the current situation in the country, it's like we find ourselves in the book of Lamentations.
True.
Because how can you even pacify a Nigerian at this moment, looking at everything that we're dealing with? The past 48 hours has been, I think, the icing on the cake when it comes to the suffering that Nigerians have been dealing with over the past 1 year, if you want to consider just the Tinubu administration. But for the past, I don't know when last we had it really good, so to say, for quite an extensive period. We're just comparing bad situations with other bad situations, and which one was less, impactful in terms of
you remember,
consequences.
The Bishop Kuka talking about the good old days. May we never have a good old day in Nigeria. That's exactly where we find ourselves. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please.
Thank you very much.
And where you're calling from.
My name is Daybreak. I'm calling from Daybreak.
You have to come again. Your name?
My name is Umar Mohammed Daybreak.
Umar from Kebbi, right?
From Zuru, Kebbi.
Zuru in Kebbi. Good to hear from you, Umar. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, what our government is doing is unfair, sincerely speaking. Like, when you look at what is happening in this situation now, sir, the person with the family, collecting nothing less than 50,000. I have one of my friends that works in local government, grade level 14, is collecting 25,000 naira.
Wait, grade level 14 collecting 25,000?
25,000 naira, sir. Grade level 14, sir. Grade level 14.
That's a senior managerial role in the private sector.
25,000.
25,000 naira, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So when you look at in this kind of situation, and we are battling of corruption. When it comes in terms of what kind of people, the person that is working for that one day of a month collecting 25,000 naira, how much? Especially what I'm telling you now, in my side now, in the con now, it's 1,100 per mudu.
Interesting.
So when you look at collecting 25,000 naira, how do you going to take care of your own family? Especially to send your children to school.
Yeah.
When you look at what they have been doing, every blessed day, they have been increasing themselves money, buying expensive cars, while others nothing, even to feed themselves. It's a problem. I have some of people that I can give example with them. Once when they come up from Suba, Salah prayer, they will not go back to their home because they don't have anything to eat. And they are a government workers. So at least our government is supposed to do something very important because we are people are running out of patience. Sincerely speaking.
Right. Thank you so much, Omar, for shedding that light. But also, just to get us back on track, we can talk about all of these other issues. They are equally important, but we want to really understand the cost of the past few days on your life and on your livelihood, especially if you run a business or if it has dramatically impacted what you had to do to survive over the past 48 hours as a result of dealing with the consequence of the shutdown, especially of the national grid. And not necessarily to aggravate our viewers and their emotions right now, but there's a report that has just come out that 30 governors spent well over 968.64 billion naira on, guess what? Refreshment.
Interesting.
In just 3 months, actually. Close to 900. Let me take that again. 968 billion in 3 months. 30 governors.
Abdullahi, in journalism school, when we were preparing for research, we were told that sometimes to understand how people feel, you have to immerse yourself in that community. We simply do not live in the same world, as these leaders. And maybe that makes conversation a little bit uneven. Good morning, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Yakubu Musa from Jos.
Good morning, Yakubu from Jos. What's the situation with Jos this morning?
Essentially speaking, the issue of the labor strike affected every Nigerian. When you look at the standard of living and the cost of living too.
Go ahead, please.
As what the last caller is talking about, they're supposed to look at cost of feed. You see, as you say now, a measure of rice is 2,000 plus. 2,000 plus measure of rice, 2,000 plus measure of beans. Now, when you calculate a family of 5, then maybe they will take tea in the morning or even akam. They will like to eat something in the afternoon. Likewise, the dinner. When you calculate for 5 people in 30 days, you divide 100,000 there, you see how much they are depending on. Maybe it's renting house. We have medicals. Somebody may be sick within the family. These kind of things, where are we taking the life to? We are begging the government to consider this our civil servant. It is this time around people know the importance of electricity. Most of our handsets, they are off. most of the handsets are off. No communication. If you go to the bank, nobody in the bank. If you go to the ATM, no money there. So, sincerely speaking, I don't know where we are heading to. The federal government should look into the issue of Nigerians. Otherwise, our voters card will work on them.
Right. I like that kind of threat. By the way, I like that. I like that threat.
And I sincerely hope that we all understand the powers inherent in that voters card.
It's true.
Yeah.
A senator, they want to buy a senator one luxury 60 million. We send them there, and they have forgotten about us.
Yeah.
Dressing. Some of us barefooted. They should think twice.
Yeah. I quite agree with you.
They should think twice.
Quite agree with you on all of these points.
Look at the children in the school. If you take your child to public primary school or any school, you will end up knowing nothing. And when you take him to the private school, how much are you earning such that you pay that your child's school fees in the private school? When the president removed the subsidy, there is nothing on the ground. He did not adjust any palliatives for people so that immediately the subsidy is removed, they will see something that will cushion the problem. Nothing is on the ground.
Okay.
They evaluate the naira.
Yeah, okay. There's a variety of issues that we can continue to address, but thank you most kindly for joining the conversation. I think you've made your point, and I like the comment about using the PVCs to send a clear message. And it's not just about the president, by the way. It goes for state lawmakers. It goes for local government chairmen, by the way, if we're able to fix that whole situation with the local governments. It goes for your state lawmakers, to the governors, to your House of Representative members, to the senators, and then to the president. It shouldn't be a given that because someone has been in power for such a very long time with very little to show for it in terms of quality leadership, because it all boils down to quality. If this phone isn't working for you, guess what? You're going to look for a phone that works better. So why can't we apply that with our leadership challenge, right? If it's not working, his ideas, his approach to addressing our problems, security, economy, education and healthcare, and it's not just about one person. Yes,
I think
there are a variety of people that need to be given that treatment.
Yeah, just to further buttress the points that Abdullahi is making, I think for once in the life of this democracy, Nigeria have now understood how ethnicity plays no part in suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, we all basically are
we feel the heat.
It doesn't matter where the president
no one is immune to
anyway.
it. Everybody is groaning. Everybody is complaining.
Just about everyone.
People in the church are complaining. People in the mosque are complaining. People who are going to their shrines are complaining.
Absolutely.
Hausa people are complaining. Yorubas are complaining. Igbos are complaining.
That's right.
Thieves are complaining. Everybody is complaining. So there's a common denominator here. It's universal as far as this situation is concerned. So all the more reason for us to really invest ourselves, especially the much younger demographic. We have to take ownership of some of these things. This lackadaisical attitude of sitting back and waiting for somebody else to fix this problem, it's not going to. Yeah, it's not going to work.
All right, we've got another caller on the line. Your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
My name is Tololi from Jos.
Another caller from Jos. It's a pleasure to hear from you this morning. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. The fact here is I want you to understand, as a nation, there are three things we must consider to make progress.
Right.
Number one, there is nothing wrong for a leader to retrace his steps if he discovers the path he has taken is not a righteous one. Number two, in the area of leadership, the impact you can see somebody put to any nation, since the political class is classified as public servants, the remuneration to which you have given those people cannot allow them to think and function. Seriously.
Why do you say that?
Not because of anything, because people are more interested in what they can gain, not what they can put out. Check it. Developed nations make sure that the political class do not exceed a certain amount of threshold when it comes to their ability to earn incomes. The president of the United States has a certain salary and he cannot exceed that salary. And for as long as he cannot exceed that salary, it makes him think And whatever he earns, people know if he exceeds that threshold, he as a person cannot add value to the nation. Point number 3, concerning the issue of Nigeria, for the president to have taken the decision on the first day to remove subsidy, I am of the opinion we were made to understand that there are people who are collecting the funds of the subsidy, and the government know who those people are. There is nothing wrong with maintaining the subsidy and arresting those people who are collecting free money in the name of subsidy and not giving Nigeria services. Once we consider these 3 factors, I am assuring you the sufferings to which Nigerians are experiencing today can be reduced. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. Leadership is something that since the days of the old, there are standards and thresholds to which leadership is operated on. But we have jettisoned it since independence because it has favored a lot of people. That's my take.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that articulate thought, by the way.
Interesting perspective there.
Listen, as much as I think, we're digressing a little bit from, the main topic, but these are all issues that tie to the situation we're talking about.
True.
That led us to the nationwide strike itself, that led us to the blackout and the subsequent blackouts that we're bound to have. Because guess what? You get this feeling that history keeps repeating itself, and not just in the traditional, 10, 30, 20-year cycle. It's almost as if we're in this repetitive, perpetual, cycle of year after year. The situation keeps getting worse. And of how many strikes have we had just this year alone? Just for the Tinubu administration alone.
And to think
on the same issue.
And to think that the ASU strike is still logging.
Pending.
For an administration that has spent 1 year and has not found any need to sit down with a pressure group that has been on the table for nearly 24 years. That negotiation started sometime
not a single meeting.
It just feels like you're setting up the atmosphere, for discomfort. We would rather like to hear from the women. They run the home front, they run most of this domestic business.
Maybe their mobile phones are dead. One of our callers did say that a lot of people, and also this is one of the things with Nigerians, there's always a silver lining with some of these particular situations. Mechanics, for instance, they had a very big, window to make so much money, because some of the people who were not used to using their generators for quite some time have all of a sudden had to find a way to use it. And some people were opening up charging spots in their locations to make quick bucks, because people needed to charge their phones to stay in touch with relatives, do their businesses and so on and so forth, because that shutdown really took a lot of people by surprise, because a lot of people thought maybe they're going to bring it back somewhere down the line before the end of the day. But no, it lasted for nearly 48 hours for some people.
And still counting for others. If you like.
Northeast, for instance, that whole situation with the blackouts is still there, an ever-present danger for the people in those locations. So let's have more PEs, personal experiences from you regarding the impact of the 48-hour blackout or the strike action itself. We've heard from so many small business owners how it has eroded some of their profits, some of their capital, because those losses cannot, and we're talking about small businesses here, they're not insured. There's no way they're going to recoup that money going forward. So they have to find a way to deal with those losses. So let's hear some of those stories around the cost of this 2-day shutdown of the national grid and the strike action itself, which has basically shut down the Nigerian economy for the past 48 hours. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Yusuf.
Yusuf, where are you calling from?
I'm coming from Benue State.
Right. I almost guessed it. Good to have you, Yusuf. Go ahead. How is Benue this morning? Where are you calling from in Benue?
Benue is cool. I'm fine.
Okay, go ahead. How has this blackout affected you over the past 2 days?
We thank God. And the advice that I wanted to give for this our Nigeria is good to us to utilize the resources that God given to us in this country.
All right.
And the country will develop and God will see us through.
Yeah. That's a very positive mindset, Yusuf. Thank you so much for sharing. And that's one thing about Nigerians, that you can't beat us. I mean, no matter how beaten we might look, we still have hope that things will turn around for the better. I don't know whether that is a superpower on our part or a weakness, because we always find reason to be hopeful.
Unfathomable. Know, when you said, how have you fed, and you said
we thank God. Yeah. Even in the jaws of defeat, we always find reason to thank God. But
these sufferings get to a point where the best you can do is to just leave it to God, you know, and maybe that's the reason why some governors had asked us to pray more.
Yeah. but also, I think the politicians have weaponized our spirituality against us.
That's right.
A country like Nigeria has no business being in the current predicament that we're in right now.
No.
We don't have any business, to be honest.
No.
I mean, look at how other countries are run successfully. Rwanda, for goodness sake. I remember seeing this video clip of Larry Modowo, the CNN presenter, who was, taking a trip to Rwanda, and, the highways were well lit. How many of our highways are lit at night with street lights? We're not talking about the inner cities. We're talking about highways in the outskirts.
That's right.
I mean, most of them don't even have the street light facilities that they used to have back in the 90s anymore. So these, I don't think that when you talk about the wealth of the nation, there is any African country, and I stand to be corrected. I mean, the numbers, the statistics might tell you otherwise, but you know how you know it in your gut that you have more than the other person, but somehow you're unable to tap into that potential, utilize it, and that's why we're where we are today.
Yeah.
With all of the failures that is leading us to shut down our economy, blackouts, and all of these incessant strikes that continue to happen over and over again.
All right. Let me say that we are expecting to hear from our viewers in Lagos, which is a commercial nerve center, and you can imagine how much energy that takes up, given that they have 2 discos, situated there in Lagos, and you have another in Ibadan. We would like to hear from our viewers from the southwestern, southeastern, and the south part of this country, so we can get the sense of what this 2 days has been like, across board. I would like to add here that some of the biggest losers in the last 2 days would also be the Jankos. Basically, once you generate the power, you can hold it, you can keep it. If it is not taken, it goes to
does that mean they also had to shut down their plants?
Shutting down is more disastrous, because restarting those facilities takes a whole lot, and you can imagine how much loss they would have taken in as well. I mean, the discos too.
And all of this could have been prevented if the government had done the needful and acted in good faith with the negotiations. Offered maybe something more reasonable than the 60,000 that they are offering.
The government, it's always saying that the labor guys should act in good faith, and so sometimes you wonder who exactly comes to this table.
Who has not delivered on the CNG buses? Who has not delivered on food, emergency? I think, all hands are pointing in one direction, to be honest.
Interesting. So we have a few more minutes to go if you want to quickly chip in.
I actually think we've completely run out of time.
All right.
At least that's what I'm hearing from our director. So sometimes it's like that. Maybe you don't, because some of those phones are not charged, or perhaps emotions are still rather high, and a lot of people really just do not want to partake in sharing some of those very hurtful experiences. But to all of our callers this morning, thank you most kindly for adding value to the conversation. We do appreciate you for joining the conversation. We're going to take a quick break. Daybreak returns in just a moment with more on the program.